So Matt, it's a first this Saturday with the visit of Sutton United to the park for the first time and the first meeting between the two sides. I mean, what are you expecting from that?
We're playing against a team in good form. Won the last 3 games, 2 fantastic results. The last 2 games in league fixtures, finding their feet at League 2 level, but doing really well on the back of their promotion last season. We actually watched them quite a lot last season. We followed them. Followed their campaign because there was a couple of players we wanted to keep an eye on in relation to that, and they've carried on their good form and added some quality players to it as well. So we know how difficult this weekend will be, and we've had a free week in relation to training and no real game time as such apart from the 23s last night. So we're not in a bad position on the back of a 4-0 victory away at Scunthorpe last weekend.
I think what they've shown so far as well, they're quite a difficult team to break down as well, haven't they? And they have got that goal threat. You know, they put 3 past Palace in the Papa John's, and then have won their last 2, keeping a clean sheet against Hartlepool. You know, no mean feat. So they definitely pose a threat, won't they? Yeah,
look, a strong team, physical, strong spine, some great legs out wide, out and out wingers, and put the ball in the right areas and get their attacking players and play aggressive with it as well. And on top of that, you just mentioned that they're difficult to break down. But we know that if we play to our potential and we get that ball moving and get that ball in areas ourselves, that we can hurt opposition. And we'll be looking to do that this weekend. I expect it to be a good game because, like I say, they're coming to us in fine form. We got another little confidence booster last weekend, and the boys have trained well this weekend. They've had to train well because all of a sudden we've got real competition for places. So, you know, I don't want players looking over their shoulders. I want them looking straight ahead in terms of what's next. But they know full well that they can't take the foot off the gas.
And they're a team who've had to spend quite a lot of time on the road already with having to rip up their pitch at their place. I mean, does that give them in some respects maybe a little bit of advantage because they're used to playing away a bit more than, you know, some other teams?
Possibly. I'm not too sure. What was it, the first 3 or 4 games away from home in terms of this season? So they've experienced playing away from home, but they've obviously picked up some good results at home as well. But we need to catch them early. They'll have had a physically demanding week with their 2 games already so far, and hopefully we can catch them with a journey in their legs as well. But I'm sure they'll have prepared right. I'm sure their manager won't be thinking too much in terms of the home and away split, and they'll just be pleased to get in points on the board and wins under the belt. When you always get promoted, you want to make a marker in that league, and they've certainly done that so far, and they'll be coming to win the game this weekend. But like I say, we've got to always back ourselves in terms of our home form. We're not in a bad place personnel wise, and we're not in a bad place team wise as well. So I hope that the park will be relatively full, and they'll be able to see a certain performance which he says not only a good reflection on League 2 football, but we want to keep moving in the right direction, and that this weekend will only be 3 points.
Looking at ourselves as well, you know, 5 unbeaten in the league now, unbeaten at home in the league as well. How important is it to continue that good form and pick up those points?
Well, I think in preparation and before the game last weekend, we were talking about turning the draws into wins, and then you win convincingly. Maybe a totally different game this weekend, but we're looking for the same again. Looking for more goals and more points. It's just another opportunity. Game number 8, and so he's still in early days in terms of where we are as a group, but also in terms of the season and everything settling down. But we know we want our first home win in relation to, obviously, the Bristol Rovers game was not a freak, but it was out of sight in terms of 20 minutes. I said previously to the normal press, I'd take a 1-0. I'd take a 1-0 in the last minute as long as we win the game or put ourselves in a position to win the game this weekend. Sometimes we need to work on winning ugly and winning scruffy as well, because the 2 wins we've had so far this season, we've been at our best and the opposition have really struggled. So hopefully Sutton will give us a stern test, and we've got to figure out how to break them down.
And continuing that good form which we've had, you know, certainly in your time at the club at home is really important and a good foundation, I guess, for a successful season.
Yeah, form is form, but you want to, if there's any guarantees in football, you want your home form to be strong, but also because it's an opportunity to play in front of our support and our following, and the most amount of numbers, as well as we are supported away from home, which is always fantastic. You know, if we're getting between 4,000 and 6,000 in the home games and we're winning games of football and playing a certain brand of football, then hopefully they'll keep on coming back through the turnstiles as well. And we know how much we've missed our supporters, so to speak, but they want to see results, they want to see goals, they want to see excitement. I think it's fair to say that even the 0-0 draws have been relatively good games to watch, and I'm sure our supporters are feeling that they're waiting to see more in terms of our home performances, and hopefully that will come this weekend.
Just on last night as well, Archie played an hour and I'm guessing came through unscathed. I mean, how close is he to being involved with the first team on Saturday?
That's a big point because we were worried how he'd react today. He seems to be fine. No real pain in the knee and in the knee joint, which was obviously what we were worried about. Played 60 minutes, wasn't quite fully up to speed in relation to where his game is at, but another step closer to selection. Whether we throw him in this weekend or he's involved in the squad or possibly, like I say, off the bench, remains to be seen. But we've just got to keep on moving Archie in the right direction. And he's a fit lad and he won't be too far away. It won't take too much time, so it won't be another 2 or 3 weeks. He'll need another 2 or 3 hard sessions, and that might include more game exposure. But a player who's, he's been a steady player for us for a number of seasons. I want to say steady, that's probably an understatement. He's been a very good player for us for a couple of seasons at such a young age. Captained the club, played 100 plus games already, scored some outstanding goals and has made a big contribution. And hopefully from this point on, when he's signed off as fully fit, he can do that again.
And last night as well, Colin Daniel and Awura also impressed over the 90. I mean, they showed some good interplay down that and understanding down that left side, didn't they?
Yeah, they almost started the game too well. It was excellent to watch that first sort of 15, 20 minutes, and you hoped it carried on like that, but football's never as straightforward as that, and we played against a very good team last night, but it was just more minutes, certainly for those two, and that's no disrespect to the 23s competition, but Colin's at a position now where he's selectable from the start. He's had his sort of 3 or 4 90 minutes now and enough training with ourselves to say we can trust him physically and we know where his game is at as well, and Awura no different. Awura a little bit disjointed on the back of the week preparation going into Scunthorpe. He'd had a foot injury, so he didn't train that weekend, and that's probably one of the reasons he didn't get on the pitch against Scunthorpe. There was no point risking him in that game, but he's already had a positive impact on the group, and anyone who watched the game live last night knows what a sort of player he is and what an exciting player he is to see, so hopefully he'll get on the pitch this weekend.
And how's the rest of the squad looking fitness-wise? I think you said Josh Coley is close to being selectable now as well.
Yeah, definitely. Look, he's training with us on a daily basis now, and I'm reacting really well. I'm training really well as well. Unfortunately, last night came probably a week too soon for him to get game time, so we'll need to expose him in the next week to 10 days. But there's no reason why he's not available, not only this weekend, but moving forward. And the positive note is how good he's looked in training. Obviously, a new signing, which we hadn't seen play since 10 days ago in terms of within our group. We can see people warm up and do certain drills, but to put him in a pressured situation with the rest of the group, which is a good training group at the moment, and to see where his game at has been really pleasing. So we hope he'll have a big impact this season, as with Archie, as with all our players. They're at different stages and we've got to be patient, but we're trying to get Josh on that pitch as soon as we can.
And just on this season squad, 13 new faces came through the door in the summer, but they just seem like a really together bunch. I mean, you look at things like the way they've been celebrating the goals and the way they interact with people on social media and the way, that a lot of the players are using Twitter a lot more this year. It just feels like they're a really together bunch, and that's something else that must play a part in being successful on the pitch as well, that unity.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you recruit, you always take a risk. Naturally, you take a risk because you never fully know until they walk in the door and you get to spend a bit of time with them. But character-wise, that's been a big effort from myself and our recruitment team in terms of finding out about what they like, character, personality. Will they fit into our environment, and do they want to come to us, and do they need to come to us? In terms of players and staff alike, Exeter City is a certain club, and you've got to want to be here. And you've got to need it to work out, and we seem to have a hungry group at the moment, and the fact that they're getting on and bonding so well, I honestly think the pre-season trip away helped that. Even a few days in Cardiff and a few days at the hotel there, they were just able to be themselves, and no one's on the outside of it at the moment. People have been at different stages in terms of their games and their fitness, but everyone's come in with the same objective, and that's to get themselves on the pitch first and foremost, and to be successful as a team, and to see them celebrate the goals like they do and celebrate it in the game. They're a good group to work with. I always say I'm in a privileged position because I get to see them every single day, and we debrief after every training session, and we consistently say that they're moving in the right direction, but we want winners as well, and we want a bit of a nasty side sometimes, and to win ugly, because we've seen in the 2 wins we've had so far how we've dictated the game and scored goals freely. Sometimes we're going to have to pick up those hard-fought 1-0 wins, and that might come this weekend. But in terms of where the group are at, considering the changes we made in the off-season and the recruitment drive we did in the summer, we're really pleased with where they're at.